Tvameva mata cha pita tvameva. Tvameva bandhuscha sakha tvameva. Tvameva vidya dravinam tvameva. Tvameva sarvam mama deva deva. The deeper we journey into the Liṅga Purāṇa, the more a beautiful pattern begins to reveal itself. What first appears as many gradually reveals itself as one. As this inward journey continues, the Liṅga Purāṇa reveals one of Mahadev's most profound and mysterious forms, Aghorasha. The word Aghora means beyond fear. Human life is filled with fear. Fear of loss, change, suffering, disease and death. Aghora represents the presence of Mahadev that remains untouched by all of them. Although these teachings describe rituals, mantras, offerings, and their promised benefits, their deeper purpose is far more transformative. The repeated emphasis on healing points not only to physical well-being, but to the healing of the mind itself. Through sincere mantra, devotion, and steady practice, anger softens, greed loosens, attachment fades, and fear gradually gives way to peace. Even Aghora's fierce appearance is an expression of compassion. Fire burns away impurities. Every ending prepares the way for a new beginning. The cremation ground reminds us that everything the ego clings to is temporary, while the divine alone is eternal. The worship of Aghora ultimately teaches fearlessness through the realization of the self. The teachings then describe powerful mantras, once used for protection and victory during times of conflict. Yet, the Liṅga Purāṇa makes an important distinction. Spiritual power must always remain aligned with dharma. The story of Hiranyaksha reminds us that strength without righteousness eventually destroys itself. Our greatest enemies are not outside us, but within. Anger, pride, jealousy, hatred, attachment, and delusion. The true battlefield is the mind, and the highest victory is mastery over oneself. From there, another beautiful teaching unfolds through the Vidya of Vrajreshwari and the story of Indra and the demon Vrita. Overwhelmed by fear, even Lord Indra loses confidence until he turns toward divine guidance. Empowered by wisdom, he overcomes Vrita. Spiritually, Vrita represents the inner obstacles that veil our true nature: fear, despair, attachment, and ignorance, while the Vajra symbolizes the indestructible strength of divine wisdom. Lasting strength never comes from the ego. It arises from remaining connected to the divine. The following teachings describe sacred practices for protection, prosperity, and the removal of obstacles. Reading symbolically, they point inward. The greatest attraction is toward truth, and the greatest obstacle is ignorance. The highest mastery is mastery of one's own mind. Again and again, the Liṅga Purāṇa reminds us that sincere devotion transforms us far more deeply than ritual alone. We become what we continually place our attention upon. Having explored fear, inner transformation, and the victory over ignorance, the sages now ask one of humanity's oldest questions. Can death itself be conquered? The great sage Suta's answer is beautifully simple. through devotion to Mahadev, the recitation of the Rudradhyaya, and the sincere worship, the seeker gradually overcomes the fear of death. The goal is not physical immortality, but the realization of the eternal self. The body changes, thoughts arise and pass away. Life itself is constantly changing, yet the witnessing awareness remains untouched, and that unchanging awareness is Mahadev himself. Even the sacred offerings reveal this inner journey. The lotus reminds us to remain untouched by the world. The milk symbolizes purity, honey, sweetness, and the ghee, the refinement born through spiritual discipline. Ultimately, the greatest offering is not flowers or sacred substances, but fear, attachment, and the mistaken belief that we all are only the body. Throughout these teachings, the Liṅga Purāṇa returns to one timeless truth. The greatest spiritual journey is always inward. It is here that the Liṅga Purāṇa reveals one of the most beloved mantras in all of spirituality, the Mahamrityunjay mantra, the mantra of the three-eyed Lord. Today, many know it as a prayer for healing, protection, and long life. Yet, the Purana reveals a far deeper purpose. It is ultimately a prayer for liberation. The teachings begin by describing the worship of Mahadev through the Triambaka mantra before the Shiva Linga, accompanied by offerings, charity, japa, and devotion. Yet, as throughout the Liṅga Purāṇa, these outer practices point toward an inner realization. Rather than simply praising the mantra, the Liṅga Purāṇa explains each of its words, reminding us that while repetition purifies the mind, understanding awakens the heart. The first word is Triambaka, the three-eyed one. Yet, the meaning extends far beyond Lord Shiva's three eyes. He is the Lord of the three worlds, the three gunas, and the three cosmic functions of creation, preservation, and dissolution. Even the sacred syllable Om points toward him. Every apparent division ultimately finds its source in the one, Mahadev. Next comes Sugandhim, meaning fragrant. Just as the fragrance of a flower spreads effortlessly, the presence of the divine quietly permeates creation. True spirituality carries its own fragrance, not of perfume, but of compassion, peace, wisdom, and love. Such a presence uplifts others without ever seeking attention. The mantra then describes Mahadev as Pushtivardhanam, the one who nourishes all life. More than physical sustenance, he is the unseen force that supports every breath, every heartbeat, every planet, and every star. What we call life is continually sustained by the divine, whether we recognize it or not. Then comes the heart of the mantra. Just as a ripe cucumber naturally separates from its vine, may I be released from the bondage of death. The image is deeply symbolic. The fruit does not struggle or tear itself away. It separates naturally when it has fully matured. So too is liberation. It is not an escape from the world, nor a rejection of life. As wisdom deepens, attachment loosens. As devotion matures, fear fades. Liberation is not forced. It blossoms naturally through spiritual maturity. For this reason, the Mahamrityunjay mantra is not merely a prayer to extend life. Even the longest life eventually comes to an end. Its deeper purpose is freedom. Freedom from the fear of death, freedom from attachment, and freedom from the illusion that we're all only the body. This teaching gathers together everything the Purana has been revealing. The cosmic form of Lord Shiva, the principle of Lord Shiva, the Jiva Shraddha, Aghora, all find their fulfillment here in a single prayer, not for survival, but for awakening. The Liṅga Purāṇa concludes that there is no Lord more compassionate than Mahadev, and no mantra more capable of leading a sincere seeker toward liberation. Its greatness lies not in what it promises, but in what it asks for. Not wealth, not power, not victory over others, only freedom. Freedom from fear, freedom from bondage, freedom from ignorance. The Liṅga Purāṇa leaves us with a timeless invitation. Do not try to make the temporary permanent. Instead, discover that which has never been temporary. Discover the witnessing awareness that remains untouched by birth, change, and death. Discover Mahadev within. Then the prayer of the Mahamrityunjay mantra is fulfilled. Not because death has disappeared, but because the seeker has awakened to that which death can never touch. As this sacred journey reaches its final teaching, one last question naturally arises. How does a seeker truly realize Lord Shiva? How does knowledge become experience? And how does worship become union? The Liṅga Purāṇa answers this through a beautiful dialogue between Mahadev and Mata Parvati upon Mount Kailash, where Mahadev reveals one of the deepest teachings of the entire Purana, the 5 progressive yogas. The journey begins with Mantra Yoga, where mantra and meditation gradually purify the restless mind until repetition becomes remembrance and remembrance becomes presence. Next comes Sparsha Yoga, the yoga of breath. As prana becomes steady, the mind naturally grows quiet, allowing deeper awareness to emerge. Then comes Bhava Yoga, the yoga of devotion. Lord Shiva is no longer remembered only during worship, but experienced in every moment. The heart itself becomes the temple. Beyond this lies Abhava Yoga, where the mind gradually moves beyond names, forms, and mental images. Thought becomes still, and silence begins to reveal what words never could. Finally comes Mahayoga, the highest state. Beyond thought, beyond imagination, beyond every concept, nothing remains to be attained. Pure awareness shines by itself, self-illuminous, infinite, and eternal. The Liṅga Purāṇa beautifully explains that these are not competing paths, but stages of one inward journey. The mantra leads inward, the breath leads inward, devotion leads inward, silence leads inward. Each prepares the seeker for the next until each method dissolves into direct realization. The journey begins with words. It matures through devotion. It deepens into silence. And finally, it dissolves into direct experience. The seeker who once searched for Mahadev eventually discovers that Mahadev was never absent. Mahadev reminds us that these teachings bear fruit only through humility, devotion, discipline, and reverence. The true disciple is not known by learning alone, but by the willingness to be transformed. And this is the heart of Pashupata Yoga. Its goal is not extraordinary powers or mystical experience. Its purpose is freedom. Freedom from ignorance, attachment, and the illusion of separateness. As this journey through the Liṅga Purāṇa comes to its close, every story, every mantra, every ritual, every philosophy, and every form of worship finds its fulfillment in a single realization. The many reveal the one. The outer leads to the inner. Knowledge flowers into experience, and devotion blossoms into realization. The final destination is not simply knowing about Mahadev. It is awakening to Mahadev. When that awakening dawns, the mantra, the temple, the deity, the guru, the universe, and the seeker are no longer seen as separate. They're recognized as expressions of the same boundless reality. Perhaps this is the greatest gift of the Liṅga Purāṇa. It never asks us to reject the many. Instead, it teaches us to see the one shining through the many. And when that vision awakens, every mantra becomes his voice. Every temple becomes his presence. Every being becomes his form. Every breath becomes his grace. With that, we come to the end of our journey through the Liṅga Purāṇa. From the mystery of creation to the cosmic form of Mahadev, from the stories of sages, kings, devas, and devotees, to the deepest teachings of yoga, the self, and liberation. This sacred Purāṇa has quietly guided us toward one eternal truth. Mahadev is not merely a deity to be worshipped. He is the infinite reality that pervades the universe and shines silently within every heart. I offer my deepest gratitude to Mahadev, whose infinite grace made this entire journey possible. If even a single story, a single verse, or a single reflection from this series has inspired greater devotion, brought a little more peace, or encouraged anyone to look within, then this journey has truly fulfilled its purpose. And to every one of you who has walked beside me from the very episode to the final one, thank you. Your encouragement, your reflections, and your devotion have made this journey far more meaningful than I could have imagined. Together, we have undertaken a sacred pilgrimage through the Liṅga Purāṇa, discovering its timeless wisdom one chapter at a time. But our journey with Mahadev is far from over. Beginning next week, and by the grace of Mahadev, we will embark on a brand new series exploring the 12 Jyotirlingas, the 12 sacred places where Lord Shiva revealed himself as the infinite pillar of divine light. Together, we will uncover the Puranic stories behind each Jyotirlinga, their profound spiritual symbolism, and the timeless lessons they continue to offer seekers today. Until then, may Jagatpita Mahadev bless us all. Keep seeking, keep chanting, keep surrendering. Har Har Mahadev, Om Namaḥ Śivāya.